But that goes against the notion that he wants all this gender identity stuff to go away. This is one interesting gentleman. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's party. So we've covered Peter Boghossian on the live show a number of times. He's actually come through. I've been trying to get him on the channel, and hopefully this will help. But if you're not familiar, he has an amazing podcast, but he also does this game that fosters conversation, and I really, really, really love the way that he does it. So if you're familiar with like Jubilee Middle Ground, where they have a prompt and then you can be on either side of it, instead of agree or disagree, what Peter Boghossian does is he'll set up, neutral, slightly agree or disagree, strongly agree or disagree. And usually it's a longer thing, but there was this clip that I just had to share with you guys. Shout out to Peter Boghossian, and let's do it.
Usually I count down and I say move, but it doesn't apply to you because there's nobody behind you. So anyway, trans women should be allowed. Trans women should be allowed in the Olympics.
So this is the prompt, and you can see the lines on the ground here. Yeah, so neutral, slightly agree or disagree, strongly agree, so on and so forth. And so it's not the typical, this doesn't go where you think it's going to go. If this went where you thought it was going to go, I wouldn't be showing it to you. So just see if you can guess. See if you can guess where this is going to go before he says it.
5, 4, 3.
So again,
2,
he is now
move.
The shirtless guy is now responding. So he says, strongly agree.
Cool.
Trans women should be allowed in the Olympics.
And strongly agree. And obviously, unfortunately, we don't have anybody else playing. But tell us why you think that you strongly agree.
Well, ever since they dictated that gender doesn't exist in the United States due to Obama, there has been recent things showing that some people men believe that they're women. If they're a transgender woman, they should be allowed in the Women's Olympics. And so that means that that's going to set a new precedence on scores, times, and everything if they're allowing transgender. So I believe if a person feels that they feel they're one sex, they should be allowed to play in that sport, especially if they go through the processes of becoming a woman. I think they should deserve to play in that sport.
So already we're like, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. He's addressing the fact that if trans women play with actual women, that records will be broken. But he's also saying that if you identify that way, you should be able to play with that gender. So which side is he on? I'm not really sure. Let's keep going.
And so I just want to make sure I'm clear. So what? I'll take my gloss off. So what if they don't go through the process? Should they still be allowed or no?
So we would expect that if he's going to say, he would say yes, that as long as you self-identify, that's enough.
I mean, if they're declared as a woman and that's how they feel.
That's how they feel. Well, at least they say, someone says, I feel this way. But they haven't gone through any surgery or hormones.
If that's what they feel, then they need to let that woman run in that event.
Okay, you said something that's interesting. You said like more records will be broken or something. What do you mean by that?
I think that if there was to be transgender women, we would see sub 10.5s. We would see just like world records that men couldn't get, but these transgender women would get, right? Because now they're a woman. So I think that the new records would be set if they had transgender women in Olympic women's sports.
So the people who are trans, I don't mean to be vulgar or anything, but born with penises, they self-identify as a woman, they go to the women's sports, and they would break records that women haven't broken.
Yeah.
And
just imagine if what's his name with the Kardashians? What was his name?
Well, Jenner. I'm not gonna say the original name was Bruce.
He changed himself.
Caitlyn
I don't know anything
Jenner.
about the Kardashians.
Oh yeah, me either. But I know that the husband changed into a transgender woman. Okay,
There she is.
and if he wanted to be in the Olympics, that's the perfect example that he was an Olympian.
So he would break the women's records, and that's good.
Not him, but if
Not him, right? But
if they allowed transgender, yes, I think that'd be good for the sport.
So now he's saying transgender women breaking the records in women's sports would be a good thing. If you're as confused as I am, you will definitely find a home at the Indian Jesus Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7. We are in there hanging out, playing fun games, having good conversation. And after every single live stream, we go in there for an after panel where you are not stuck behind your keyboard, but you are on screen with me and everybody else. You can come up if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it is a grand old time. Come and join us.
Yeah. It'd be more exciting to watch trans people like push new boundaries. Yep. Break new records, new times, for example, maybe in swimming or running or I don't know, if, wrestling, maybe something like that.
So yeah, like this.
So maybe he's saying that it will make women's sports better because there will be men in there. But is that fair?
The sprints, the boxing,
the soccer,
the boxing and the combat sports, that's where it gets really, really squirrely for me. I mean, in general, I don't think it's fair for biological men to be competing with women, but definitely combat sports. If you think that's a whole other game, then let me know, because that I feel justified in being like, all right, even if we want to do, trans in swimming and this and that, that's not fair, but nobody is getting beaten up. What do you guys think?
Anything that's one-on-one, I think that transgender would come in there and take over, right? Olympic lifts, the Olympic powerlifting.
And that would be a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it lets women know that us men are the strongest ones in the world. Just letting you know that right now.
Okay. Okay, so
this is his position. His position are that men are superior in every way to women, so that if you just let things play out, then we will see the erasure of women. And he's happy about that. So maybe he wants to expose the gender ideology that it would cause, at least in sports, the whole thing to fall apart, because then it would just be men playing sports. And that would get us to leave the gender identity stuff. I'm still a little confused. And this is not the first time I've watched it, but let's keep going.
So, and again, I whenever I do this, and again, we only have you one, but I always make sure that I try to understand what people are saying. And if I've got you wrong in any way, please tell me, because I'm trying very hard.
And so a good point that usually he has multiple people playing and then they will talk to each other. And that's why I think it's such a good game for people to be able to understand each other and understand differing positions, because they're, right there reacting to each other. They're not in a group. They're not online. This one, I guess, was just a short clip because it was just the one guy and he's quite interesting.
No. So if
transgender is a thing, they should be allowed in the Olympics for women's sports.
And the reason for that is because it would break records, and it would let women know that men are, I don't want
the dominant species.
Superior.
I said it, the dominant species, the superior species. If they let transgender women into an Olympic sport, it's going to prove that we are the dominant species as far as male and female.
Okay, so
agree or disagree, guys? I need your opinion. I just want to know.
So, how does awards going to trans women help the sport?
How it could help the sport?
Yeah,
it helps the sport by opening up the dialogue and the discussion that transgenderism exists.
So I think he is on board with the idea that if you self-identify, whether you go through any of the processes to transition or not, self-identification is enough. But if you want to play by those rules, then we're going to play by those rules everywhere. You're not going to get the special treatment where it helps you and then, oh, I'm actually technically a female. But that seems to be his position.
And it's here, and it's not going nowhere.
Or is it?
It's definitely put a focal point on the transgender that, some of these people feel that's what they are and that's what they should be. And that's going to be imagine the little kids that feel that way too. That's going to allow them to open up and want to be in the Olympics.
Right. And it would certainly,
but that goes against the notion that he wants all this gender identity stuff to go away. This is one interesting gentleman for sure.
They teach the women a lesson about the men's physical superiority.
Like I said, I think that women would be outraged, but then at the same token, it's showing that, look, us men, we are the dominant species in this.
And they should just have to accept that, I guess.
if they're accepting transgenderism, they're going to have to.
There we
so
go.
Let me ask you a question.
There we go. If you're accepting transgenderism, then you have to accept that you will not get to play sports. Those are his words. That is his. Well, those aren't his words, but that's certainly his position. I think we figured it out. Let's listen to a little bit more and just make sure.
Question. So by that reasoning, shouldn't we ban trans men from participating in men's sports?
Yes.
So
wait, whoa.
Trans men born with a vagina,
but become a man? No, they should not be banned. No, they should.
Oh, they should not be banned.
No. They should be allowed to be in the male.
It gets confusing. So we're not going to knock anybody for mixing up the male and female and trans man and nobody. We all get that stuff mixed up.
For like UFC, for example, if it was a
That's what I was thinking. Actually,
yeah, if you wanted to fight UFC, that man should be allowed to play in there. If he gets his ass whooped, he's gonna know why.
I mean, I get where he's coming from. I get that that's a very hardline approach. Like, yo, if you want to play this game, we're gonna play this game. If you want to be a man, then you got to go fight men. I get the logic, but you're literally advocating for women who may not know any better, who may have never fought a man before and be a lot stronger than they were when they identified as a woman because they're on hormones and this and that, and think that they can do a lot more than they can actually do, like transform into a man. That's going to end up with a lot of people hurt. We already have Fallon Fox in MMA who broke a girl's face, literally shattered her skull because Fallon Fox was born as a man, got all the benefits of growing up, going through puberty as a man, switched over, and is now allowed sanctioned combat against a female. I mean, he's got a point. I don't necessarily think I agree with him, but he's got a point. What do you guys think? I told you this was a weird one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out. Once again, I've been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.